Hello guys, so I'm super excited to moderate this session. It's called The 8 with Kutu, and I'm moderating this session because she'll be talking about 8 things that would change in a short span in the future. The future is actually now. It's a conceptual art and tech exhibition. It's going to be a fun ride, and I'd advise that you listen. With me here is Kutu. Kutu is an art enthusiast. She is also a writer, and with over like a decade experience in the diplomatic space rather. And she has a lot of stuff to be sharing with us here. Kutu, it's a pleasure, really.
Thank you, Malti,
Yeah.
for that very nice introduction.
Can you tell us about the 8? What's the 8 really about?
So mostly I call it the 8 because obviously I'm Captain Obvious, but that's how it came to me. It came to me as 8 lists, 8 items, I would say. So the 8 is 8 ways in which I see the future changing. And just a little backstory because it's important to it. So 2015, late 2014, just like that, I was just thinking of what might be the way that the future might change. And you know, when you're always, maybe you go for a job interview and somebody's like, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Right. So I journal a lot, and so when I write and I think, okay, in the next 5 to 10 years, where would I want to see myself? So in a rare moment of, it's just, I would say, insight or foresight. It just came to me on just like an idea, like these are 8 ways, specific ways in which the future would change. And at the moment that it came to me, I remember I didn't have my usual notepad, right? And so I just emailed it to myself from one email address to the other. I think I emailed it from my Gmail to my Yahoo. I emailed it to myself so I wouldn't forget. So I emailed it to myself that, oh, these are 8 ways in which I just sense the future is going to change. And since then, I've actually talked to a few people about it, but at the time, it seemed so far off. It seemed like something from a sci-fi movie, actually, that sometimes when I get the reaction of people either rolling their eyes or being like, no, you know, that kind of thing. But imagine that, but I still wrote it down and I still believed. I think 6 months after, I did a quick video with a friend of mine, but we lost that video. And then 2-3 years later, I did another, like, I want to start a YouTube channel on it, which I didn't see that to fruition. So this is me bringing it back again. And what has inspired me bringing it back again is that, one, it's from a part of the book that I'm writing called Wellbeing Economics. So I have, like you said, a decade experience in the diplomatic community, and most of what I do is finance. So I'm very interested in like numbers and stuff like that, and somehow the 8 finds itself into the book. And I'll quickly list what they are.
Please do.
So the first is it's mostly tech, because I'm very interested in technology. So it's mostly what would the world be like, and in no particular order, the shape of the PC would change, and that would mean that the desktop that we knew at the time, instead of just a computer sitting on a desk, that the entire desk itself would be a computer that you can rotate, would be your desktop that you can rotate between 0 to 45 degrees, and then the CPU would be something that you could put in your hand with palm size, and you can put under the desk of it. Holograms, you know, holograms would be part of our daily reality. Robots would be as common and as friendly as our smartphones, and just generally a car that drives itself. So I actually made a list of those things, and I developed it and I put it on my laptop, and I have all of that like digitally. And that's 7 to 8 years ago. And now I'm just living in that reality now, the honest truth, because I'm now on Twitter and Elon Musk is going to space. I'm on Twitter, and Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos, is going to space.
All of these things that you actually mentioned at some point, I remember.
And then I'm just sitting now and I'm hearing, oh, Facebook is now metaverse. And he's talking about augmented reality and all of that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have a journal somewhere. I have something that I wrote down somewhere 6, 7, 8 years ago in what I think. So everything that came to me in which how the future was going to change at that time is actually our reality, and it is barely a decade. You see, so that's what's remarkable to me, because technology is what you're thinking. If someone tells you, oh, we're going to have robots in my house, or I'm going to send my hologram to the office, I'm taking the day off, or I'm going to I have a robot and nanny to take care of the kids while I go to the market, or I have, because one of the things on the list is the autonomous vehicles. Now we call them autonomous vehicles, but then on the list I wrote it as auto-mobiles, which we'll do a tour of it and I'll show you now. But those are things that at that time when I said it, it was like, oh, we're sure, yes, we're going to have all this, but we're going to have it in 10, 50, 20, 80 years, 100 years from now. And I actually thought that as well, because when I wrote it down, I said, these are technology for the 22nd century. I didn't see it, I would say, even me, I didn't see it as fast as it's happening now. I thought, because when I wrote down the notes as it came to me, I said, this is what's going to happen in the 22nd century. We need to start preparing for that now. And so, but now 2015 till now, this is barely a decade after, and everything on that list is our current reality. Accelerated, of course, by COVID, but even I didn't see how fast it would happen, but I was sure.
So what made you so certain that these things you actually wrote down would be? I mean, it takes you to be so sure that the things that you're writing about will actually come to be for you to even put it down. So what made you so certain?
I think it's just the history of, actually I'm about to say that's a very good question, but I hate it when people say that during the interview. So now I don't
please
want to
feel free
become
to
something
say it,
that
please.
that is a very good question. Thank you very much, Ma. Actually, that is something that I cannot answer without being a bit too esoteric, or what like Nigerians would say, spirikoko. So I've always journaled. I've always kept any idea that comes to me, any thought that comes to me, any dream that I have, anything, my day, however it went, how I'm feeling, how upset I am, how not upset I am, how happy, everything goes in my journal. So I have like a stack of books of things that I've just been writing. And what I notice is, if an idea comes to me, it comes to me in its fully finished form. It doesn't come to me as something that I have to develop, or something that I have to work on. It is something that is fully finished. And I think that's the best way that I can describe it. So, and sometimes I don't have any evidence why this thing is so, why I believe that this thing is the best way or is the right way. I just know it because it came to me in what people say, oh, inspiration or something. I will give you an example. My friend from secondary school, we just got email at the time, and I went to visiting, and her brother was complaining that his email address was, his Yahoo email address was too long, and he was just tired of typing it out at cyber cafes. Remember the age of cyber cafes? Such a long time ago. So he was saying how tired he was, and just without thinking, the insight just came to me, and I just blurted it out. That why don't you just type the first part of your email? You don't need to put the @yahoo.com. That you just put that in your email, the Yahoo thing. You type that in, you put your password and hit enter, and it would go. And the moment the words were out of my mouth, I was just speaking to myself like, Kutu, you just lied. He's going to go to a cyber cafe, and he's going to find out that
you're lying.
You just lied. Imagine then my surprise when 1 week later I go to visit them, and he's like, guess what? It worked. Nobody was more shocked than I was. I was like, what? And I'm just sitting here like, what worked? He's like, no, that thing you said worked. The reason I said that, because it came to me in a flash of insight. The same thing when we were having MTN was coming, and someone told me, how is it going to happen, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, we don't even need to go to cyber cafes anymore. All you need to do is just, anywhere you are, you can just plug a little thing like a palm, like a pen drive, flash drive. You can just put it to your laptop, and anywhere you are, you can just browse. You don't have to go to a cyber cafe. Again, There is no reason why I know this, but I think I just lied. And the person comes back the next day, it's like, no, sorry, a few months later, MTN comes into Nigeria, starts offering all of that, and that is what we call, I have a modem or stuff. So I have all these things that just come to me in a flash of instant, and I just write it down. So the reason that I was certain that the 8 was actually accurate is because I've had a little instances of things that just come to me in an instant, and I don't have a reason why I know those things are accurate, but events then prove that confirm that those things are accurate. So at the time that the 8 came to me in late 2014, 2015, I had already established a pattern of, if it comes to me in this format, it is going to happen, and I don't doubt it. So basically, that's a long, lengthy answer, but that's how I knew that this is the way the future was going to be.
So let me tell you something very interesting about this whole thing. We'll be going around now, and she'll be showing us literally these 8 things, and she'll be throwing more insight on it, and that's why you really have to stay tuned, really. So is there any other thing you'd like to inform our audience before we take this tour around?
Before we actually go around, I just want to say that there's a quote that says, now verify. There's a quote that says that the future has already arrived. It's just not evenly distributed yet.
Whoa. Okay.
So the future that we think is going to come, the future that we think is going to happen in 10, 15 years, in 200 years, the future is already here. The future is already going to happen. The future is already here, and what you think will be 50 years down the line, it's already going to happen. You and I are going to have our kids in an automated vehicle. We're going to have robot nannies. We're going to have holograms attend board meetings that we couldn't go. And with COVID, like the pandemic now, travel has changed. Work life has changed. What we think is the future that's going to be like is sci-fi. Technology doubles so fast that you can't keep up with it. And something as huge as a pandemic is an accelerator. That things that we think will not happen, that couldn't happen. At the start of 2020, you couldn't tell me that the world would be what it is today. But by March 2020, everything had changed. And what started in one corner of the globe has affected everything and everybody, which shows our interconnectivity as a human, as humans. And so that means that we share a common destiny. We share a common destiny in happiness, in abundance, in economic prosperity, in interplanetary exploration. We share a common destiny no matter where we come from. Borders around the countries are things that we invented for whatever reasons that we did that, but it doesn't mean that we're actually apart. At the touch of a button, I can speak to anybody, I can tag anybody on Twitter, I can go online and send somebody a DM. We're all connected in a way that we weren't before. You know, so I just so what the takeaway that I would say from the 8 is there needs to be a new way of doing things in which our technology cannot be faster than our humanity. And the reason I say this is our tech is going faster and faster, but our humanity is not. Instead of that technology that has brought us all together to keep us together is driving us apart. And all we do is bicker online, call each other names, retreat into our echo chambers and fight, and use that to further drive wedges into ourselves along ethnic lines, along religious lines. Oh, there's the left, there's the far left, there's the center left, there's all of that. What's happening is that our technology is moving faster than our humanity. What's going to happen is that technology will be more harmful to us than good. And I'll end on this note, this session of the interview. There's one of the 8 is stem cell. And stem cell is basically stem cell comes, like the afterbirth, when a woman gives birth, the placenta that comes with the stem cell is what were developed from it, right? So now, one of the 8 is there's going to be more use of stem cell to solve bio problems, health problems. There's going to be a way that we can cure more diseases, and women can be able to ensure that when their children are sick in the future, you don't have to get a bone marrow transplant from someone else. You can grow that bone marrow transplant from the stem cell. You can grow an extra kidney from the stem cell. You don't need someone to donate to you. Now, that's a very good thing if our humanity is intact. If not, what's going to happen is that we're going to have people that do forced breeding, because then stem cell now becomes something that everybody wants. And what's going to happen is that there's going to be stem cell on the black market, just like we have all organs on the black market. So we need to get to a point where our technology cannot develop faster than our humanity, faster than our need for empathy, faster than our need to have restraint in power, restraint in how we spend, restraint in how money and our economics is running. And so that's the point that I would want to focus on as we go along the tour and the exhibition.
Great. Thank you. It's really wonderful that we are putting a pause on this note, because you really have to follow us. This is the next stage of the entire thing, and I don't advise you to go anywhere. All right, so we're starting with automobiles.
Yes, actually this wall is, I call it mobility.
Okay.
So, because movement. Okay, so automobiles, the reason I've hyphenated it is automobiles is the general name for, vehicles and stuff. But at the time, like I said, the idea came to me in 2015. So now we call it autonomous vehicles, which are like AVs. But automobiles is automated mobiles. That's how I framed that. So automobiles are automated vehicles and cars that can drive themselves. And I'm a proponent of fuel cell cars because the energy is greener. And they're quieter generally. So this is automobiles, this is holograms, and this is space tourism. Space tourism, I'll just go. So this, I have to say, these words are actually how I jotted them down. So I've taken for the art exhibition just to blow them up. These are exactly what I wrote down as the idea came to me. So I'll start with space tourism. It says, flight companies will begin to offer affordable holiday travel packages to include options like go space diving on Mars or sightseeing on the Milky Way, as more commercial airlines will provide space travel for non-astronaut fun seekers among us. So this is the prediction as at 2015. We also have holograms. Employees in the future will have the option of either calling in sick or have their hologram carry out their responsibilities. At the very least, they can be present at an all-important board meeting with the new partners. So of particular note, you can see, and in April of 2015, because this was 2015 when I jotted it down, the first hologram protest was held in Spain. So as far as 2015, that had already happened, but it was such an anomaly that it made the news, and it was just like flash in the pan. It didn't stay. But so you can see that we've been testing out the technology for a while, but now it's going to be more every day. So mobility, this wall is mobility because this is us moving from our homes to where we need to go to. This is us moving also from our homes to where we need to go to, from our homes to where we need to go to, but the vehicle of movement are different. Autonomous vehicles, we don't have to be there presently, but we can be there in our presence, and we can go to space as civilians. We don't need to be from NASA. So this is the mobility wall.
Yeah, you know, one very interesting thing about mobility is auto automated aircraft actually. So now there's the advent of drones, and now you have remotely piloted aircraft systems.
Oh, that's true. You're a pilot, I remember.
Yes, and so there's a lot of things going on. So there are surveillance now. You have oil well surveillance. You have agricultural, say, survey that aircrafts really don't have to do anymore, and so you just stay within the confines of a space and just remotely pilot an aircraft just for all of those surveillance. So it's really interesting, really.
That's great. And the concern that I have, funny that you mentioned that, like, we don't need to go. The concern that I have, and well, policymakers and decision makers, we should have is automobiles is not just like commercial vehicles, like even delivery trucks, you know, and it is mostly like for taxis, for instance, Uber. Most of the drivers are men. So imagine a world in which the Uber or the taxi of the day is automated. That's going to be a lot of job disruption for men mostly, because it's mostly a male domain. Of course, there are women drivers, but taxi drivers, delivery guys, guys that you have to, like NMPC, they have to deliver fuel over long distances. So if you have automated vehicles, those are jobs that will be lost to automation, and there will be a lot of job anxiety, which is already starting, and then job insecurity. And the funny thing is, with AI, there will be, how when you have immigrants coming into a country and there's xenophobia because they're taking all our jobs. What's going to happen, and what's happening already, and the fear is going to be and is that AI is going to take our jobs, and then so we now have xenophobic tendencies directed to artificial intelligence.
We become hostile.
Exactly. So that hostility needs to be reined in.
All right. So we're moving.
We're moving to stem cell. Like what I like to
stem cell. All right. This way.
Stem cell is the next one. Stem cell for me is stem cell.
Okay, great.
Stem cell is mostly it shouldn't be, but I focused it on women. And it shouldn't be. It concerns all of us. So like I said, you can develop any organ, any body, because it's like the building block. It's what you build your body, your cells from, right? So stem cell banks will become more commonplace. Biotech firms will emerge that offer the services of safeguarding your newborn stem cells from birth to death and even longer. So in the book Wellbeing Economics, the start of it is bioenergy, and bioenergy is our energy, our essence in what powers the planet. Now, imagine then that a woman is expecting a child, right? So she's expecting a child, she goes for antenatal. Normally now, you check how the baby's lying, you check the mother's health, all of that. But stem cell makes it possible that when you go for antenatal classes, the nurse or the medical workers are trained to teach you and give you options. Okay, so the afterbirth, which we call the placenta, the afterbirth, after the baby comes, the afterbirth, the placenta. Africans, especially in Nigeria, we would bury it. We give it to the parents, and they would bury it in the homestead. And we have a thing like, they buried my placenta here, and this is where I'll be buried and stuff. The reason is maybe on a more traditional level, we had a sense that we were linked to that. So if you have a baby and the afterbirth, then you can then store that in a stem cell bank. So we now have stem cell firms that all they do is offer services to store that stem cell.
Really? We have them now?
Yes, we do. And this is something that would decide elections. And the reason I say that is because there's a religious component. Now, this falls dangerously between eugenics and dangerously between people say like, we can do gene editing, we can split mRNA, we can do all of that. We need to have some form of regulation in which we decide who the stem cell belongs to. Does it belong to the child or the mother? What are the roles of the father in the afterbirth? Does he own a stem cell? Does he have access to that stem cell? If there's a family member that needs like radical surgery and you can grow some kind of cure from that stem cell, who needs to sign the paperwork? Who is liable? So you're going to have medical attorneys that will tell doctors, this is where your liability starts and this is where it ends. This is where the right of the mother extends and this is where the right of the newborn extend. Who decides the ownership of the new? So is it that's because with every child there's an afterbirth.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to decide, and this is for legislation, this is for the public discourse, this is things that we need to be able to disagree agreeably on.
Yeah.
So this is of very key importance because women are involved. Already we have countries that, and most countries are seek to have ownership of a woman's body.
Yeah.
Imagine then that you have stem cells that can cure almost any disease. What's going to happen is that women are going to fight even more for ownership of their bodies, even more for ownership of what comes from their baby. So now I put that says from birth to death and even longer. The reason even longer means that if your child, maybe the mother isn't around anymore, maybe the stem cells can be stored for as long as you can have stem cell banks that have biointegrity, right? So if the mother is no more, for instance, right, you're going to have to write a will that says when my child is 18, she can decide the stem cell. When I pass, this is who goes, the stem cell administration of my child goes to. So you're going to exit the godmother. It's like next of kin thing. So this is very important, and I hope we can handle it carefully because it's like it's a ticking time bomb and it has a lot of facets. And I hope we don't, but I'll be really sad if we politicize it and then apply religion to it. It ought to be cut and dried. We have Alzheimer's, we have cancers, we have diseases we cannot cure. If we can get that and make sure that for every child, his or her stem cell is stored and safe for future diseases of that child that can be used to cure you, you can live longer, you can live healthier, and it doesn't have to be a thing that, oh, in our family, when the husband dies, all his property belongs to his brothers, and then it would be crazy, but that would be a world that we'll be living in. So that's stem cell.
So what next?
So I'd like to take us on
BioGreen.
BioGreen.
This looks very interesting.
So in 2015, it came to me as BioGreen, and I have to mention that the names of these things, right? The names. This is how they came to me. It's not like this is the idea that came. Then I coined the name. No, it came to me as BioGreen, shape of the PC, like that. So BioGreen. Now, in developing BioGreen and fleshing out the idea, in the book Wellbeing Economics, I have actually changed it to bioenergy.
Okay.
As technology pushes the frontier of our realities, the need for energy will rise. So the debate then, as the 21st century accelerates into the 22nd, will not be fossil fuels versus green energy. Our survival will depend on it. In the future, well, in 2015, what the future was to me, in the future, we wouldn't have that debate. The debate is not going to be green energy versus fossil fuel energy. The debate will be, so the debate will not be the clean energy debate. It will be the ethical clean energy debate. Not if, but where the clean energy is going to come from. Wow. So I think we have two more.
Okay.
Three more actually.
Okay. We have global security here and robots. Which are we starting with?
So we're going to start with robots.
Okay.
Only because robots is more. So this is the domestic part of robots. You have robots for different things. You have robots to teach your child anything. You have robots to, I don't know, be a salesperson at Walmart or at ShopRite, whatever. But this is a specific take on robots as domestic help. So more and more women are going into the workforce. Women in the future, women now, it's never going to come a time, maybe, that's my prediction, that women don't work. Because there's a certain satisfaction that you get from working. There's a certain joy that you get from contributing to your family or to society at large. But women continue to be the primary caregiver. you're the one having the baby, you're the one that has to take care of the baby, you have maternity leave. There's a lot that a new mother has to face, and most modern moms don't have the luxury of having someone at home to take care of the child with them, their mother, their friend, or even a nanny. So mothers in the future will have the option of having a human nanny or a robot child caregiver. You'll also, so robots will help women in balancing work and life. So you can also have a robot COO temporarily run your small scale business while you attend to medical emergency. So imagine that you have a mom and pop store and someone just runs in to say, oh, your son just like had like an accident on the football field at work. You can just like have a robot just immediately run things and then you go off to take care of that. And then, or you can just have a robot drive you around, which we've already seen in the automated cars. So robots will become like smartphones. They're friendly, humanoid, and indispensable. And the reason I say humanoid is because now in our heads we're thinking this mechanical robots kind of thing. They will be humanoid. They'll just look like, and it'll freak you out. It'll freak people out. Be like, is that a robot or a person? Because the body movements will be lifelike. You know, the everything about them will be lifelike. But that's how they have to be. This is mostly what I was talking about during the interview.
Okay.
We need to be kinder to each other, especially social media. There are people with rates of suicide from cyberbullying. If people aren't safe when they go online, if there's not their privacy security concerns, then we haven't done our job as social media companies or even as policymakers. And also, we have the ability, so the prediction is that we'll have the ability to wipe out stock markets with rogue algorithms. Somebody can just program an algorithm to override airplane instrumentation, and you can possibly hijack a plane without actually being in the plane.
Oh my God, that's crazy risky.
And you can actually hold nations and companies to ransom over the threat of releasing war-inducing state secrets. So you see, most of this is mostly data. So data management is very important. You need to be able to provide security and privacy for your citizens as the leader of a country, a community, or a company. People provide you their data on social media, everything, our likes, our dislikes, what we like to eat for breakfast, what we did at someone's wedding, everything. Our lives are practically online. So we leave everything online and we leave footprints. And if you don't have the ability to protect your citizens, those data will become the equivalent of company property or things that just, oh, anybody can come and take it. So for instance, I have here that financial records, medical history, travel log, biodata, work history, family tree, and such data will achieve the status of national treasure. So what happens is that now every country will gather the data of their citizens in a data bank. Now, that's good because you're trying to secure the data and the history of everybody in your country. It's a two-edged sword. Why? Because if I'm a hacker, I don't need to go take Malti's data from her company, from Facebook, from Twitter. All I need to do is hack the national data bank. If I hack the national data bank, I'll just tell, let me just use a fictitious country, Wakanda. I'll tell the leader of Wakanda that I need $3 trillion. If not, I'm going to take all the data of your company, of your country. Or I can say I hacked into your database and I have state secrets that you don't want your allies to know about. So if you don't give me this amount of money, I'm going to do. It sounds like something from a James Bond movie, but life is stranger than fiction. And so this is not a thing that's going to happen. This is a thing that nations and leaders of nations are terrified and will be terrified. If they're not terrified of the right things. So in a bid to prevent this, they'll have to find a way to secure the data of everybody on the planet. Companies that provide this service will supersede the $1 billion mark. We may see the first $1 trillion companies emerge. well, we haven't seen a $1 trillion company for cybersecurity, but we've seen $2 trillion companies already. So I guess I'm right on the mark with this prediction.
Yes.
So finally, we're here with Shape of the PC. Now, so at that time, now I'm sure there are more, almost 2 billion smartphones were currently used globally, meaning that billions of people are accustomed to using computers in the horizontal position or at tilted angles, but hardly at parallel eye levels. So this means that this is how we are.
Yeah.
Or this is how we are on your phone, you're scrolling, or this is how you are on your bed. Like you're never, except in the office, this is the only time that you're sitting like this looking at a computer.
Yeah.
So this prediction is that personal computers in offices will follow suit. So you have then your desktop. So it says laptop screens are adjustable, smartphones and other portable devices are held at varying degrees, but never at the parallel eye level. So there's something about a straight spine and an eye level that allows you to be very functional at work. But it's bad for your spine because then you see that we're hunched over computers like this, and most people have to go to a chiropractor or to go to a medical health professional. You need to get massages and stuff. What needs to happen is that we need PCs that are adjustable. So if you sit at the desk and you need it at an angle, you need it at 13 degrees, you need to be able to adjust that. So this new model will require specialized desks made to be compatible with new touchscreen PCs. The CPU will shrink even further to be fitted on the underside of the desk. So the model of the PC will change. As you can see, every office is using a PC, and this is a thing that, it's just we take that for granted now, but there used to be a time when it was just a typewriter, and that's why we have the evolution of tech here. Everybody knows a diskette. When last did you see one?
Primary school.
Yes, I used to store like information on this a lot.
Interesting.
Also, we have a multimedia PC clean kit.
Okay.
I don't even think that is a thing anymore, but you would open it and clean your PC with that. Look at that font size. It was just, it seems like such a long time ago, but you can remember actually doing this in just like barely 10-15 years ago. We had like the cleaning solution used to be in here. You would put that in, and of course another diskette. Oh, sorry. Thanks. So we had the PC cleaning kit. Remember when we had this what's it called? Even remember the name now. A tape recorder. So cassette tapes, sorry. So you would have a cassette tape and you have a tape recorder, and all of that is just you had.
And then I remember how we rewind with the
there's a pen in it, and you go tick 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 tick, and I never got that correctly, and I would just like and
mess it up,
and I'll just it would twinkle. This is my Yanni. I had Yanni recorded here. Yes, Keys to Imagination, Nightingale with an orchid. I listened to this one. Can't you see how faded this is? Of course, these are my mom's tapes, like Christian tapes. She would listen to her messages cleaning on Saturday morning. Remember the disc? You remember what's this again?
So what's it called? The CD, the compact disc.
Yeah, compact disc. So we moved from this to this. Right. And remember this camera?
Yes.
This is Kodak, but now you have like 10 times the computing power on this.
I found this really, really mind blowing when I was younger. I know this comes out.
I don't think this works anymore.
Zoom
but okay.
in. Probably to zoom in or zoom out.
Yes. And
interesting.
But all of this is now in your phone.
Yes.
Along with your alarm clock and 10 million other things. And this is Hercules, one of my favorite Disney characters.
Yes.
You remember this
guy? Yes.
And this was barely 10-20 years ago. So we're ending the exhibition here, and what I'm trying to say with this is the William Gibson quote that the future is already here. It's not just evenly distributed yet. We have holograms now, augmented reality. We're talking of were made the first incursion into space as on the civilian side. You know, like space tourism is here, stem cell is here, bioenergy is here, all of that is here. But at the same time, I can still play this tape. I still have this still works, right? I can still play my Hercules. So the future is here, and it doesn't have to be dystopian. It doesn't have to be a thing that, because now we have technology that is more advanced, that the old technology won't work anymore. So people don't have to have that technological anxiety, like, oh, so I'm just going to have a robot in my house. It's just so weird, and so there'll be a lot of conspiracy theories flying around. No, I don't want. I prefer to be safe and secure. You'll have both technologies side by side, both realities side by side, and even though tomorrow you no longer find this, it doesn't mean that it never existed, and it doesn't mean that tomorrow the tape recorder is going to be extinct. We still have what I think your dad has, the turntable.
The turntable.
We'll still have that. We still have all of that technology right now, and we can even recycle it and make it different. So this is the end of the exhibition, and I hope I'm able to.
It's been so insightful, to be honest, and I've really learned a lot, and it has just awakened my consciousness, the fact that we really have to be conscious, and with regards to changes that's currently going on, we have to just harness the positive side and not. I mean, technology can either make or break us, basically. So it's all up to us.
Thank you, Malti.
Thank you.
This has been fun taking you around.
Same here.
And you'll get one of the first 10 copies when the book is out.
Oh my God. I can't wait. Thank you so much.